startup ecosystem, what the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless you have, if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing, all the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally, and we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Yes, join Startup on the Blocks. Thank Quinn for that good introduction there. It's been a great week so far. Spent the last couple of days over in Destin at the FPL Economic Symposium. We had a couple of AI speakers and innovation speakers, so I hope to share some of that stuff with you all that I learned over there from that. But we're actually glad to be here, and my visa was scheduled to be on the 9th, and so she's not going to be able to make it. She's out there trying to raise some money for her startup, and we hoping everything goes well with that. So I decided to talk about anything you all had questions about and do just to ask me anything session. And feel free, you know, we're in this agentic world right now, and it's things are changing fast, and we definitely don't want you all to get left behind out there. And it's always neat to hear from people who get paid a lot of money to go out and talk to people, and so you can actually learn more. So I'm here tonight to support you all, and I've been learning quite a bit, and that's the way I use AI to help me learn and to help me better support you all in that. So don't be shy. If you got something on your mind, just do the chat. Yes. So Sam, yeah, Destin is amazing. We're out in Baytown Wharf, and yeah, so it was decent weather over there, right on the Gulf there. Yep. So it's definitely excellent place to visit. Yeah. So over the last few weeks, we've been leaning heavy on all the AI stuff to kind of, leverage that and kind of using it to help you learn, because when building a startup, you have to, know what's going on in your industry and your field, and you can leverage the AI and the prompts and stuff to kind of make sure you're on the right track. And for me, I always check myself. I have the AI reflect back to me on what I've been prompting about and how can I improve it, and and it's got a chance to share a lot of that over at the conference. So let's get the ball rolling here. Yeah, and so one of the things that I get feedback from the AI, like we pulling way above our weight, but the way we're able to do it is through these partnerships with other organizations and leveraging their resources. And I don't even have all the partners we leverage out here on these slides. And, just to kind of make sure we can provide more support to founders. And so we definitely appreciate that. And we definitely, a lot of these folks here, they sponsor our Innovation Summit that we have coming up next month. And I'll have the registration out there for you all soon on that. So we're looking forward to that. Got some good speakers lined up. So it should be as exciting as it was last year, and even more exciting. But we definitely want you to make sure you're using AI the right way to kind of build your business. And we have, I think you all may remember, we had Dr. Bell on, and she's not going to be able to make it in person, but she will be online. And when she was on last year, she said the year before her company did really well, approaching the $1 million stuff. I don't know what she did last year, but she's all over the world just helping students do better on the SAT and ACT. And so she took my advice after we were talking after the show, and she's got AI agents, and she's like on the ball now, expanding. So she's going to come and share how she leveraged AI to kind of continue to grow her business. So another thing that the AI, and prompting has helped me with is to kind of understand, how we're different, than a lot of other organizations in the area. And so there are a lot of programs out there, but we focus on making sure you as a founder understand and know the process for building a startup. And so, and that is critical. You may not think it's critical, but there is a method to the madness. And as soon as you take time to realize that and understand that, you'll see the traction you'll get and to help your startup grow. Or if you got an existing business out there and you're making money, but it's not scaling as fast as you want, you can still use these same approaches to start scaling out your business. But there is a method to the madness, and that's what you have to realize. I tell people all the time, my career was spent developing technology that, and use cases that had never been done before, spending millions of dollars, but that never fazed us as researchers, because we had a step-by-step process that we followed. And it's the same thing when you're building a startup. You have to know this startup process, but the thing that you also have to remember is the economy is changing, has changed, and if you're still trying to do something based on what somebody told you 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that the economy has changed. And so the process is still the same, but you have to know how based on the economy, that we're in. And so that's why we use the Lean Stack platform, because it's a formal process for building and growing a startup. And so it's good for corporations making millions of dollars. And I had this discussion earlier this week. I was in a meeting, and I got this a lot from founders as well. When people think of startups, and there is a difference between a startup founder and just a traditional entrepreneur. Startup founder is trying to build a scalable system, designing new business models, And so that's really the big difference. And there's a whole ecosystem out there to support that founder, but they need to be solving a big problem um, um, that's out there. And so I was on this meeting, and the folks, I was showing them the lean stack process, and they said it doesn't work for something that you have to sell to the government, or are you doing stuff that had never been done before? And I've said this methodology is almost analogous to what we did working, research, and every projects I had, the ideas I had, even working for the government, I had to go pitch them to raise money to do it. And so whoever's putting up the bill, that's the customer. It doesn't matter what the product is. The process works whether you're doing a mom and pop store, it works whether you're doing a franchise. It works if you're doing an event. The process actually works, and that's what you have to remember. People come up with all these excuses of why what they're doing is unique and different than everything else, but that's not there is a process. And so that's why we're here, to make you aware of the process, give you access to the material, the training platform that has the processes in it. But the key thing in all of this is you have to pitch your business model, because that's how you get the help you need to build something that's never been built before. And so, and that's what the ecosystem is all about. But the ecosystem only speaks the language of the lean canvas. And so if you're out there speaking some other language, are not talking in that language, you're dead in the water. So you have to get savvy on how to talk about your business, and that's what we're here for. Yeah, and it's just an evolution through a bunch of different phases, a lot of different ways to look at it. The startup science thing, yeah, you all should have access to that. They keep upgrading it, and it's got a bunch of resources in there. It's got free perks in there for startups. It's got listing of grants and stuff in there. It's got tools in there to help you with your business, and it's got training for all different phases and parts of your business. And most of y'all should already have access to the Lean Stack program. It's got the milestone approach, trying to reach these different fit milestones. But it's the one that is the foundation for building a business. And so we pretty much automated the process for it's the first thing you can do with us is with our Founder Insight program. We give you a prompt to simulate the whole process, so you can understand what the process is, and then you can run that prompt, and it simulates what it takes for your idea. At first it talks about all the stakeholders in the industry your product is in, and finds which develops business models based on the best ways to make money in that, and then it generates this big idea lean canvas. Then it generates the canvas for each customer segment. Then it does the desirability stress test, and it does a viability test based on how big the market is, and the feasibility stress test, this demand validation over here, and it even does the marketing. So that's a really neat tool, and I will be turning that into an AI agent, so we can make that available to folks as well. But then what we do is we take the results of that prompt and put it over in a notebook LM, and then just analyze what the AI generated. And I will tell you, folks that actually go through the program, they're saying especially on this demand validation over here, where you go out and do the interviewing, doing problem discovery, that it's literally um, tracking pretty well. So, and when I worked for the government, before we went out and built anything, we actually ran a simulation, and that's all this is. You simulating everything that's going to happen, so you can know once you actually go out and do it, you have confidence that it's going to actually work right. But we use Notebook LM to kind of get feedback and learn, so you can learn about what's going on a lot quicker. Yeah. So, anybody got any questions about the process for building a startup? So, if not, I'm going to show you this conference I went to. Is called the Northwest Florida Economic Symposium, and always have national and international speakers come in. But this particular guy, he gave our presentation on AI and got everybody familiar with what was actually going on. There was a great presentation, and of course everybody was asking me what did I think about the presentation. I thought it was great, but I just took a transcript of his presentation and I run my AI prompt on it and do an analysis of it. I'm meeting with a client tomorrow, and I did I analyzed the prompt based on their organization. And so like what happens is when you hear information like this, you can run a prompt and say, what does this look like for my organization? What does this look like for that organization? And so it's a really neat approach. The other speaker that I thought I would share with you all tonight is this Cal Sheely. This guy, they call him an innovation expert, but to me, he's a guy with crazy ideas, and they seem to work. So I'll share some. It was really both presentations were really entertaining here. So let me see if I can pull up, because everybody wants to know about AI, right? So let's see if I can pull up what the Notebook LM said about his thing. And just to give you a little heads up, he was so you remember I was saying how all these different eras we're going through, how things are changing. And so and hopefully this video will give you an idea, help you out in kind of knowing where we are and what you need to do. Okay. Let's see what Sam is there. So yeah, so Sam says he feels like founder other groups are running circles around our community, and founders like me, capital is the biggest barrier. Most of the groups have zero clue on what they are going to build. The question, is there early seed funding available through the Kakua Institute? So that's a good question, Sam. So our sponsor that workshops, typically we've been doing little small stuff like $1,000, $2,500, and so we at the end of our during our demo days, we don't give out grants, but we're just a small piece of the thing. And so, and this is a perfect question. The deal is there are a lot of organizations out there that provide funding, but you have to like they have programs that that you have to apply to get in, and then but the problem most of us have is we don't know how to fill out that application and talk about our business, and that's really the thing that holds everybody back. And so until you become aware of all the opportunities that are out there, you can get all the help you need. And so, but you got to know how to talk about your business. And I know you're learning, but you just have to become familiar with the ecosystem to know how to leverage the ecosystem to get the funding you need to move forward. And but the way that we're in this agentic era we're in now, basically what they're saying is you need to demonstrate some traction, and actually even start generating revenue based on the fact that all these AI tools are out there, and just to show that that you are solving a problem that's actually needs to be solved. And it's an ongoing question, but I'm telling you, when you look at sites like f6s.com, and that's just one thing. But see, like I tell people, if somebody gives, like there's a program that they had have a startup on the Gulf Coast, say, so it was only like 10 grand that they give. They don't give it to you, but they pay for any services that you need that up to 10 grand. And so like the programs, I've been in, like the first major program I got in, they paid, it's 25,000 unrestricted. And so, but you had to meet milestones, and I got over $100,000 just by participating in programs. And I've seen people fund their whole startup just by participating in these startup programs. So, but it's just hard for people to see how to leverage the ecosystem. You have to become known in the ecosystem. Sam, I'll tell you point blank, so if I go to New Orleans, do they know about Sam? If I go to Tallahassee, do they know about Sam? If I go to, if I attend the Emerge America conference down in Miami, and you're down there participating, who knows about you? It's like you have to become known. This idea of being nobody knows what you're doing, it doesn't work like that. You have to post your progress that you're making with your startup. And literally once you get in a program, and that program typically refers you to another program, that program refers you to another program, because everybody's looking for good founders. And so that is the way it works. And I'm not sure how to make it clear, but so if you just do this, so you use AI. So the first thing I would do is help me understand the startup ecosystem and how to leverage it. Yeah. So that it's just whatever you're struggling with, just tell the large language model what you're struggling with and what's out there to help me move forward. But I can tell you, if nobody knows about you, you're not moving forward. You have to get out there and get involved so people know, so like the Florida Venture Forum, do they know about you? You down in Tampa, St. Pete area, all the startup ecosystem in the area, how well do they know you? I know you've been participating in programs, but I can go on and don't think local. I live, in Pensacola. I participated in programs in Fort Walton Beach, Miami, San Francisco, London, Poland. Yeah, it's like, and with these days, a lot of the programs are not requiring you to be on the program. I participated in San Francisco and London. I only had to go to 2 meetings at the beginning and at the end, so it's like, but it's just all so many different kind of programs, but even the programs are changing because of the new era we're in. So Sam, do you have a follow-up question on that? And I really appreciate it. And so what I wrote here at the Kakura Institute is to prepare you for these programs that are out there, but you have to engage and you engage us, say, what are, don't hesitate to reach out, say, I'm struggling with this, or I need help with this. What do you recommend? I'm telling you, I've interviewed between 400 and 500 founders, and every kind of thing you could even think of, and if you don't ask me a question, I can't answer it, and so that's what I want to communicate, because the programs are out there. You have to, and people see, the problem most people have is not being aware of the resources. They're not thinking. So my attitude is, when I'm trying to do something, I know there's help out there to help me do it. So that's my number one, that's my default position. When I work for the federal government at Eglin Air Force Base, I said, any help I need, I know I can get it, because I can leverage all of DOD to help me do what I'm trying to do. And it worked. My average budget was like $40 million a year. And so it works. And the help I needed with my startup, I just, yeah, we're literally our worst enemy, to be honest with you, when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I hope that gives you a start, but just reach out, Sam. Just feel free to call me, or hop in office hours. I'm available on Saturdays from 1 to 3 on Central Time. And I'm generally, I've been keeping believe it or not, I've been keeping my hours open, for founders during the week too. So, so you feel free to reach out. That's what I'm here for, to kind of help founders. All right, I'm going to show this first video about this agentic era we're in right now. Okay.
For the last few years, we've all gotten pretty used to AI as this incredible tool for information, right? It summarizes things, it does our research, it creates content. But here's the thing. We're on the brink of something totally different. A fundamental, revolutionary shift in what AI is and what it's about to do.
Just think about it. How do you use AI today? Mostly, you're asking it to think for you. Hey, summarize this document. Write me a draft of an email. But what happens when that prompt changes from summarize this for me to do this for me? That one little word, do, it changes everything. It's the huge difference between having an assistant and having an agent. And that's what brings us here to what we're calling the agentic era. This is the leap from AI just thinking to AI actually acting. It's where software goes beyond just processing information and starts taking real, autonomous action in the world.
So what's at the core of this big word agentic? Well, it's agency. And it's a really simple but incredibly powerful idea. It's the capacity to act, to execute, to just get stuff done. We're finally giving software the power of agency. It's really that simple.
Okay, let's put this in perspective. For the last, 40 years, software has pretty much been a system of record. Think about it. Databases, CRMs, spreadsheets, they're all just really elegant ways of storing information and then letting us pull it back out. But now, we're entering the era of the system of action. For the very first time, we have software that can operate on its own. Imagine software that's not just storing sales data, but is actually auditing every single transaction in your business 24/7 without anyone telling it to. That's a system of action.
Okay, so this all sounds cool in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in the real world? This is where it gets absolutely wild. Let's take a look at what happens when AI really starts getting stuff done.
It leads to this kind of mind-bending new reality, which Sean Kanungo puts perfectly. The most dangerous skill in the world is just coming up with an idea. Why? Because that barrier between having a great idea and actually executing it is just crumbling away. Let's say you have this massive project. I'm talking about identifying, qualifying, and then getting in touch with 1,000 very specific people. For a team of humans, that would take weeks, maybe even months of grinding work. Well, check this out. An AI agent was given pretty much that exact task for a project in Northwest Florida. With a single prompt, it went out and found every single open job in the area. Then it identified 1,000 qualified remote workers from all over the country. Next, it matched them to the best fit jobs. And finally, it drafted personalized emails to all 1,000 of them, all ready to hit send. And I have to say it again, this isn't some far-off sci-fi movie. This is happening like right now. And look, it's not just a one-time thing. This is happening everywhere. We're seeing AI agents create 100 unique, customized presentations just from a conference agenda, or build a fully functional onboarding app, like a Netflix-style app, from a single text prompt, or finding and cataloging 150 perfect TikTok creators for a marketing campaign while you're asleep. The scale of it, the speed, it's just staggering. Do you remember that old music video? I think it was Kelly Rowland, and she was texting someone using Microsoft Excel. It became a whole meme. But years later, she admitted she had no idea what Excel even was. And you know what? That's the whole point. She didn't need to know. The future of technology is exactly like that. You won't have to understand the application. You won't care how it works. You'll just care about the outcome. All right, so if AI can do all this incredible stuff, all this complex work, it really forces us to ask a super important question, right? What's left for us humans to do? When technology can execute perfectly, what makes us different? What makes us valuable? For ages, we've all been told the same thing. Knowledge is power, right? But is that still true when everyone literally has a super genius in their pocket? In this new agentic era, the new power is knowledge. It's boldness. It's the hunger to try new things, to act, to fight against the way things have always been done. And the key to standing out in this new world, the thing that becomes more valuable than anything else, well, it boils down to a single, pretty provocative word. Let's call it the F word. And that word is friction. Yeah, I know. In a world that is obsessed with making everything faster, seamless, on demand, and completely frictionless, the biggest opportunity we have is to intentionally add human friction. Now, I'm not talking about, bad customer service or a clunky website. No, I'm talking about creating meaningful, memorable, even magical experiences that only a human being can deliver. So, as we move forward, there are really only two winning strategies. You've got to pick a side. You can be fast and frictionless. Think Amazon, all about pure efficiency and convenience. Or you can be slow and human. Think about the Four Seasons Hotel, built on craftsmanship and unforgettable experiences. But the place you absolutely cannot be is stuck in the middle. That's the black hole of mediocrity, and it's where businesses go to die. Here's a great example. Imagine a hotel. They offer you a wake-up call, standard stuff. But then they add, hey, if you don't answer, we'll send a security guard to your door just to make sure you're okay. See? That's high friction. It's memorable. It's human. And it proves that the greatest strategy in the world isn't about the tech. It's about deeply, truly caring about other people. Okay, so this is all great, but how do we actually prepare for this? How do we win in this new future? Let me tell you, it's not about making little tweaks here and there. It's about being bold enough to rethink everything from the ground up. Look, a lot of people are scared of this technology, and honestly, that's totally understandable. But the only way to get past that fear is to dive right in. The advice is simple but powerful. Work scared until you become scary. Get so good with these tools that you become the one people are looking to for what's next. To really get into this new mindset, you have to start asking yourself completely absurd questions. Take your company's 5-year plan. Look at it. Now ask yourself, and be serious about it, why can't we do all of this in the next 6 months? The point isn't whether you can or can't. The point is that the question forces you to stop thinking about small improvements and start thinking about total reinvention. Okay, I want to give you a practical exercise you can do, like, today. It's called Start from Zero. Pick just one process in your organization, any process. Now, pretend you're building it from scratch today. First question, what parts would you just eliminate completely? Second, what could you fully automate with AI agents? And third, and this is the most important one, where would you double down and add more humanity, more of that good friction? And when you do that exercise, it really highlights the difference between good leaders and truly remarkable ones. See, good leaders are great at optimizing the past. They make the current machine run a little bit better. But remarkable leaders, they are willing to disrupt themselves. They're willing to go from being the expert back to being a total rookie, just so they can build the next big thing. And this might be the hardest truth of all to swallow. Everything that made you successful up to this very moment, your experience, your hard-earned expertise, it can actually become a liability. You almost have to thank your past self for getting in this far and then be willing to let that person go. Because what got you here is not going to get you there. So in the end, the future doesn't belong to the fearless. I don't think that's true at all. It belongs to the people who see exactly what's at stake, who feel that fear deep down, and yet are bold enough to move forward anyway.
That is the real challenge and the massive opportunity of the agentic era.
Cool. Yes. So that talk was really uh, informative yesterday, and there were definitely a lot of questions that the folks have. And so, yeah, thanks, Sam. I see you have a follow-up thing, and you're talking about VC funds that go to Black and other minority founders. And saying this is a major challenge. Um, okay, and so yeah, so I agree with all that. But like, I'm going to show you a chart here in a second, but I need to pull it up. Yeah, and yeah, so I'm trying to think. So the first thing you have to do is literally know where you are, you know, where you are along uh, the milestones that a startup goes through. Where are you? Because when VCs, anybody look at you, they want to know where you are on in the startup journey, and you know what kind of traction you have. And so, depending on where you are, you shouldn't even be talking to VCs, or because it's a waste of time. You know, it's not a waste of time for them to get to know you, but if you're expecting to get money from them at a certain stage, it's literally not going to happen just because you see somebody else doing it. That's maybe because of connections or whatever, but and maybe because of a location. But the bottom line is you shouldn't even be, you know, depending on the stage you are, you shouldn't even really even be asking for 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 um, for for money, and that's the challenge that most people have. So, like, depending on what stage your startup is at, uh, you're you go to different people, different places to get help. So, and I may have to find a couple of charts, but I'll start off with this one. I'll share it here, and I love showing this chart. Once it can get it going, let's see if it can get it going. And Sam, I don't know if I've actually shown you this chart or not. So when to raise, and so the first accelerator program I was in that literally gave a $25,000 grant. I had just an idea, and no traction, and then trying to think. Yeah, so yeah, and most of the programs that I got money from were pre-revenue. You know, so that's kind of what the deal is. But so this chart doesn't show the milestone and that's what I think I need to show. But so when you're talking about VCs, so this is the best time. Yeah, the milestones on the bottom here. I apologize. So you see on. Let me get this out of the way. So they're saying this, where this red arrow here is the best time to raise money. That means you're out there, you done launch your product, you're selling it, and you know all your unit economics, you know, and you're growing. So when so that's the best time. So, and it's basically saying when you're down here and don't have a solution yet, it's really not a good time to be trying to raise. I'll be shocked if VCs are giving money, but I know in some cases they might. I wouldn't even be. So I guess all I'm trying to say here, why would you be talking to VCs if you haven't reached like this? Have you reached this problem solution fit milestone? So what that means is you you got evidence to actually show that people actually want to buy what you have, and you've actually went out and offered. You do a demo. You went out and offered what you're building, and you get orders. That's the definition of problem solution fit. You know you're solving a problem that somebody have. And if you're out trying to raise money before that, you're going to have a hard time. And so what my suggestion is the ecosystem. So like this is the profit curve here, and all of this area below zero here, that's when you should be leveraging the startup ecosystem for funding, for help, for partnerships that you don't have to spend as much money. And so the ecosystem will help you get to this product market fit, and it actually will help you grow. But you just have to realize that it will, and stop looking in all the wrong places. All my whole startup career, I heard everything you were saying, and I saw everything you were saying, and I saw it was real. But I focused on the programs that matched what I was building, and so that's what my approach was, and that's really what you have to do. And even the first accelerator program I was in, that what we learned was you do product based growth, not funded venture funded growth, But see, I'm not sure what money you're trying to raise or what resources that you need to get to the next step. But if you sit down and explain to me what you're trying to do, I'll definitely be glad to point you in the right direction to kind of move forward. Yeah. So let's see what you're saying here. Yeah, I have a working prototype that with capital would be 50 million plus annual revenue. And so what the deal is, so like the way the world works is traction. And so you haven't been through our the lean stack process, but projections don't really mean anything. You literally have to have evidence that people want what you have, and the only thing that that's going to do that is that you have to know how to do that demo sell build process. There's I don't this idea of getting money is hard, and so I remember I remember my projections were in the trillions for my startup that I was out there pitching, but the numbers you have to, so everything is evidence based now. It's not based on projections and ideas anymore. So that's a change. It's but stop focusing on what the numbers and the about the percentage of funding, and just look for stuff that is available for you, not what's not available for you. Yeah. And so you're saying capital will build traction. So you look at this chart here. The only time in old days, once you knew this stuff right here, you knew what your customer acquisition cost was. I mean, really knew what it is, and you had evidence of it. the investors will give you all the money you need as long as they know that those numbers, and if they give you money, that's going to result in more customers. It doesn't. It's changed, and so I literally think, Sam, and this goes for anybody. If you're out there saying if you had the money, you're thinking the wrong way. Don't focus on what's not working. Just keep trying to be creative to kind of move forward. And I can tell you right now that nobody's looking at no projections right now. They're looking at evidence, and that you have things. And so it could be anything from sign letters of commitment, or there's just so many ways you can move forward, Sam. But you have to, you just have to understand what the process is and how it works. Yeah. So let's see here. Let's see if I think that's pretty much the chart that I wanted to show. So, but like this chart said, focus on the wrong thing at the wrong time. Yeah. That's the thing what gets everybody in trouble. So Sam, I don't know if you actually got into the Lean Stack platform and try to understand and follow the process. But this is the problem most founders have, and and it doesn't have anything to do with race or anything. Most people don't want to follow the process. They literally want to go from idea to funding. It don't work like that. And just because you see somebody else do it in all the circumstance, but that's not the way. That's not a repeatable process. So that's what I would say about that. But I really appreciate what you're saying. So I definitely could give you some ideas on how to move forward. But just reach out and kind of, so we can chat and kind of move forward, so I can give you more detailed feedback. But that everybody, the number one thing is you have to know what stage you're at, and you have to know what's available to you at that stage. And that's the way it works. And so, when you're down here with, early on pitching a business idea, you pitch a business model, how you make money. You try to get in programs that are interested in that type of product or service. And you try to enroll in pitch competitions and become known out there in the community. And so the way you become known is you make sure your profile and your progress is updated on this F-Success site, and the opportunities. What I tell people, I haven't updated my profile on this site in probably maybe at least eight years. And I still get emails every day for opportunities, and it's just based on my profile and these sites. But you have 14,000 accelerator programs, and there's just so much stuff going on. As Tony said, so pitching, there's an art to pitching, but you definitely got to be at the stage you're at now. You pitching your business model. That's definitely when you're pre-revenue. Yeah, and like I said, evidence is what's key right now. And so, like I was talking about Dr. Bell earlier, her company is making money, And she literally said she was winning all these pitch competitions, but she said the reason why she entered these pitch competitions because the average person she talked to about her business, they didn't understand her business. So she started entering pitch competitions so she can get feedback on how to pitch what she's doing, and she's literally people, the judges in those competitions liked her idea so much. In the end, after they finished, they became her fractional CEO, COO, CFO, CMO. They all ended up coming working for her because they loved what she was doing and the impact she was having. Okay. Yeah. So like so bottom line, the um this is what I would do if I were you, Sam. I would literally, you know how to use AI. So what are all the ways that founders are funding their startup? At what stage are they getting money? So so this yeah. Yeah. So there's probably is a relationship between real estate and startups and how money flows in there. But literally, so yeah. So the ecosystem is out there to help you. And the question you have to answer, well, am I leveraging the ecosystem to build my startup? And so you have to, you don't just automatically notice stuff. You have to say you've been researching what's not working. You need to research what does work. That's what, it's a whole different mindset. To be honest with you, I heard from day one, I heard about all the low percentage of the money that Black founders, women founders were getting. But at the same time, I also know it. Just because somebody else gets money and have a half-baked idea, that doesn't mean you should get money with a half-baked idea. It's it's all about timing and place. So my thing was, I want to make sure my ducks are in a row, and everybody will say, yeah, I still don't get money, but but there's so many other places to get money that you're just not aware of. I never let the small percentage of women or minorities getting funded, hold me back. To me, that was just an excuse for me not to do what I'm supposed to. It's literally your mindset totally has to change. I know I may be a little crazy, a little bit different than a lot of folks, but just so what is the playbook for the genic era? You got to see, like, people, you got this everything in your hand with all these tools, but you're not asking the question. You're just assuming you know the answer. Black people don't get funded. Women don't get funded. That's not going to get you funded. Yeah. So my attitude is totally different. I always expect something good to happen, and for the most part of my life, something always good did happen. Bad things have happened, but it's a mindset. I wanted to share one more guy with you all before we get off here. This is really crazy, right here. The patron saying the crazy ideas. I'm going to show you, this guy's about innovation, and you talk about crazy and far out. This was crazy, and so So I think it's kind of timely, just so I'll go ahead and find the video and show it. But this guy had everybody laughing today. Let's see. And don't get discouraged. Anybody out there, just like I said, you wanna yeah. So there are programs out there, and you just gotta understand where those programs.
You ever have one of
are.
those ideas? You know, the kind that's so out there, so wild, you just kind of laugh and push it away before you even give it a shot? Well, today we're going to dig into a talk from Kyle Sheely all about why those crazy ideas, they might just be the most important ones you'll ever have.
And that's really the heart of the problem, isn't it? From the time we're little, the world kind of conditions us to be realistic. But what if that constant pressure to be reasonable is the very thing that makes us abandon our most brilliant, game-changing thoughts?
All right, let's jump right in with the story. It all starts back in high school. Kyle needed to make some money, but a normal job just wasn't going to work with his schedule. So he had this kind of crazy idea to start a business right there, on campus. So what did he do? He started designing the silliest t-shirts he could possibly think of and sold them to his friends from the trunk of his car in the school parking lot. And it was his first big lesson, really. A simple, maybe even kind of dumb idea could actually work. He was learning business on the fly, and things were going great, right up until he graduated and his entire customer base vanished overnight.
So he decides to aim high. He wants to get his shirts into his dream store, Urban Outfitters. But when he calls them up, he hits a wall, a really firm corporate wall. They told him no calls unless you have a specific contact, and absolutely no unsolicited packages. For most people, right, that's where the story ends.
But instead of just giving up, he got creative. He thought, okay, if they don't accept packages, maybe they'd accept a suitcase. So he goes out, finds this cool vintage suitcase, fills it with his absolute best shirt designs, and tucks a beautifully designed catalog inside. He just drops this thing in the mail, his hopes and dreams basically in a basket, and waits.
And it actually worked. A week later, he gets a call from a buyer named Don. The suitcase was so creative, so compelling, they just had to make an exception. And this shows you a really core lesson. Sometimes, the unreasonable approach is the only way to cut through all the noise. And just like that, his dumb t-shirts ended up in Urban Outfitters stores all across the country.
Okay, so that whole experience proved that chasing a crazy idea can seriously pay off. But it's not just about getting lucky, right? So what does it actually take to turn one of those fleeting thoughts into a real breakthrough?
Well, it turns out there's kind of a framework for this. A survival guide, if you will, to help you nurture those fragile, brand new ideas so they don't just die before they ever get a chance to grow. Here's the key thing to remember. Ideas are not self-sufficient. They're actually really fragile, and they need a very specific environment and the right support systems just to survive, let alone thrive. So let's break down exactly what those things are. We're about to look at the 5 essential ingredients that can give your most out there ideas a real shot at making it. You can think of this as the blueprint for building something really incredible. Here they are. Every idea needs a chance, a home, a time and place, a bodyguard, and a crew. Now, all 5 of these are absolutely crucial, but let's zoom in for a second on 2 that are so important in those early, delicate moments: giving your idea a home and giving it a bodyguard. So what does it mean to give an idea a home? Well, ideas are fleeting, right? If you don't write them down, they just disappear. You need a notebook, a Google Doc, something to capture everything. Kyle even shared one of his bad ideas he jotted down, a logo for the Foundation for the Advancement of Ridiculous Things, or, FART for short. The point is, just get it all down. You never know what's in there. And that brings us to the bodyguard. A new idea is incredibly fragile. It can be killed with a single, "that'll never work." You have to protect it from criticism that comes too early. That devil's advocate person, they're useful, for sure, but only after the idea has had some time to find its legs. In the beginning, you have to shield it.
So let's look at one final story that really pulls all 5 of these principles together. It's a story about a truly ridiculous idea that ended up having a surprisingly powerful impact.
So a friend was constantly bugging Kyle to run a marathon with him. The thing is, he hated running, but he loved the idea of being able to say he'd run a marathon. And this sparked this beautifully simple and honestly hilarious idea: a completely fake marathon where you get all the swag, the medal, the shirt, the race bib, without running a single step. He launched the first race, calling it Run Free, and he was hoping to maybe raise $1,000. He ended up raising over $23,000 from almost 600 people in 24 different countries. Everyone wanted in on the joke. People were posting pictures of themselves running past the Eiffel Tower and Big Ben. It was amazing. So he decided to do it again, this time during the pandemic, and he called it the Home Run Marathon. He figured, hey, maybe he could double or triple the number of runners. Instead, 34,477 people signed up. To put that in perspective, that's more participants than the actual Boston Marathon. But here's where the story really takes a turn. In the middle of all the funny videos and jokes, he gets this message. It was from a mother whose child had leukemia. And she said that every single day is just spent being strong and being scared. But for one day, because of this silly event, she just got to be a regular mom having fun with her kids. That was a gift, she said. And it just shows how a crazy idea can ripple out and touch people in ways you could never possibly imagine. So, the takeaway from all these stories isn't just that weird ideas can be fun. It's that they hold real power, both for business and for making a genuine human connection. Okay, so what do we do with this? This quote just frames it perfectly. Think about it. Every single innovation, every invention that has ever pushed humanity forward started out of some unreasonable, crazy idea in someone's head. The line between what we call crazy and what we call a breakthrough is incredibly thin. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. For every idea out there that's maybe too crazy to work, there are probably 1,000 more that never even see the light of day, just because we talk ourselves out of them. So what's the brilliant, maybe even life-changing idea that you've been sitting on? The only way you're ever going to find out if it's a breakthrough is to give it a chase.
Cool. Yes, that was that guy was literally crazy, but it was a lot of fun. So like, yeah, Moni asked a question, and I think it's it's a good question there. The so this is what this is. So all of us, we all have access to all the AI tools. It's no reason you shouldn't be using it to understand and to learn about the startup ecosystem and how it works. I've been on this here thing every Thursday night since August 13th of 2020. I only missed one Thursday night. And the reason why I was here was because all this money got set aside for Black founders, but I knew there was no way that the Black founders were going to be able to get the money, because if you don't know about the startup ecosystem and how it works, so that's why we call it Startup Founder Best Practices. I'm not here just because I want to be here. I'm here because it is an opportunity, but you have to change your mindset. You literally have to, that's a great question. About how often are these opportunities available? There's pitch competitions going on every day. There's all applications always open for this stuff. You just have to learn that there is this stuff out there and you can take advantage of it. But if you don't know it's out there, it's not going to do you any good. In 2020, when George Floyd got killed, before the end of the year, almost $10 billion had got set aside for Black founders. But this money was through programs. And so you had to get in these programs in order to get access to these resources. But if you can't pitch your business model or how you make money with your business idea, you didn't have to already have it built or anything, and you still don't have to already have it built or anything. The whole ecosystem works on what you're building, not what you have. It's what you're building. People are trying to help you go from an idea to a product or service. And there's help every step of the way, even before you incorporate your business. People are running out there incorporating and getting LLCs or whatever, and they haven't even figured out what the business is in a decent way and did the research. So don't be in the dark about the ecosystem. You got all these large language model, Chat GPT, you shouldn't be asking me what is the startup ecosystem, because you got the answer right there in your hand. You just have to ask it. I'm not familiar with the startup ecosystem. Please help me understand what the startup ecosystem is. That's the first chat I would go in there and do. What kind of opportunities are available for founders? What kind of resources are available for founders? What companies have programs for founders? And so that's why I was telling everybody the difference between a founder and an entrepreneur. A founder is a person that's working on a startup idea that solves a big problem, not a small problem, a big problem. And we all out there working in the industry and doing things, so we are aware of problems, and we just got to realize that if we take time to figure out an idea how to solve those problems, if it's a problem for a lot of people, a lot of companies, then the ecosystem will help you from that idea stage all the way till you build your product or service. But we're so used to having to have everything paid for and then ask for customers to come in. That's not the way it works in the startup ecosystem. It's a whole new mindset. It's a whole new process. And over 12, 13 years ago, I said, why in the world would I go the traditional route when I can go the startup route? I don't need any credit. All I need is the social proof of what I'm working on and what I'm participating in. Yeah. So we having our Founders Innovation Summit, and on the 17th and 18th of April. So it's about 6 weeks away, and so Friday night we have a reception here at the Kukui Institute, and then we have an all-day thing. This will be our third year, and we do it both in person and online. So it doesn't matter where you are. We can get about 100 people over there at the Villiers Square. So that's hope that that's what the deal is right there. So, it's never too late to learn about the startup ecosystem. So I'll definitely just tell you that. And so, there's so just to get a little simple idea. But what I'm telling you all, you have to. There's so many programs out there that, and they're meant for certain areas, certain people, and so you have to find the programs that align with what you're doing, and that's what's most important. And so, So it's to kind of move forward. But I really appreciate the questions. And also, Moni, I have office hours every Saturday from 1 to 3 here at the Kukui Institute. I missed last Saturday because of a funeral, and then we had Black History. Black History was really busy. So, the mindset that we need to have is, I want to learn, what it takes to be successful, and I hear people talking about funding, but I get updates every day about all these companies getting funded and stuff. And things have changed. Over half of the money is going to AI companies. But so it's just that we kind of leverage the stuff to become aware and learn. And all righty, I'm going to get off here, and next week we're going to be talking nonprofit stuff. There's just like there's programs for startups, there's programs for nonprofits. So that you apply for the program, you get money. So it's like in the startup world, just so everybody understand too. Most of the applications are just one page. It's not no long process because they want to, but you got to have some visibility. All right. Appreciate you all this week. And so feel free to reach out. You can just Google my name, either find, and like we have a whole video library on YouTube and Facebook of all the founders we've been interviewing, and a lot of content out there. And we have resources, and literally just go to apply.kakuainstitute.org. And the form, it's literally just a form with check boxes on it. You don't have to do no dissertation on anything. It takes less than 2 minutes to fill it out. And people will put off filling it out, and all I'm doing is just registering the people that are in the program. It's literally that simple. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Love you all, and thanks for chiming in. All right. Bye-bye.